In every kingdom there is a sound that signals safety. In this one, it was silence. And that is why the king destroyed it. This story takes place in the kingdom of Vuralia during the late Bronze Age, a land of high stone towers, windswept plains, and a capital city built like a spiral, always turning inward, always listening. Vuralia was not the strongest kingdom, it was not the richest, but it endured for centuries, because its people believed one thing: noise hides truth, silence reveals it. From childhood, citizens were taught to sit in stillness before speaking. Judgments were made after pauses, not arguments. Decisions were trusted because they were not rushed. Silence was not emptiness, it was discipline. King Edrian the Radiant rose to power at 27. Young, charismatic, beloved. His voice filled halls, his laughter echoed across courtyards. Crowds gathered just to hear him speak, even when he said nothing new. And at first, the people adored him. But Edrian feared something deeply. Not war, not famine, stillness. When the court grew quiet, his thoughts grew loud. When advisors paused before answering, he felt judged. When applause ended, he imagined betrayal forming in the gaps. Silence made him feel exposed. So slowly, almost politely, he began to erase it. The first decree was gentle. Musicians were hired for every public square. Drums at dawn, flutes at dusk, soft strings along the market roads. Joy, the king called it. The people welcomed the music. The city felt alive. Then came the second decree. No citizen was allowed to stand idle in public spaces. If you were still, you were questioned. If you were quiet, you were watched. Productivity, the king said. But the elders noticed something else. People stopped pausing, stopped reflecting, stopped finishing their thoughts. Among the palace guards was a young woman named Ceres. She had been raised in a border village where silence was survival. Her father taught her to listen for what wasn't said, the pause before an ambush, the quiet before betrayal. Ceres noticed changes before others did. Orders grew unclear. Commands contradicted each other. Officers shouted more but understood less. When she raised concerns, she was told, "Speak louder next time." She never did. In the inner city lived Maelin, an old royal scribe whose hands trembled but whose memory did not. He had served 3 kings. He noticed what others missed. The way merchants spoke faster but said less. The way soldiers avoided eye contact. The way children forgot how to sit quietly beside their parents. Every night, Maelin wrote in a hidden ledger, not events but pauses, moments when someone wanted to speak and didn't. Moments when truth reached the tongue and retreated. Moments drowned beneath drums and laughter. One page was left blank. He titled it, "The Silence We Lost." Winter arrived early that year, and with it, the final decree. Silence was banned entirely. No pauses in court, no quiet meals, no unscheduled stillness. Even funerals were required to have music, so grief would not linger. Silence, King Edrian declared, is where rebellion grows. The city roared in approval, but that night, something began to fracture. Messengers arrived late, orders were misunderstood, warnings were repeated too many times, or not at all. Not because people were disloyal, but because no one could hear clearly anymore. Drums covered footsteps, music drowned urgency. Voices overlapped until meaning dissolved. When scouts returned with news of an approaching army, Ceres tried to escort them directly to the council chamber. They were stopped. A festival was underway. The warning waited. The drums did not. By the time the truth reached the palace, enemy fires were already visible from the towers. As the city burned, Maelin was summoned. For the first time in years, the king ordered the musicians away. The room fell silent. King Adrian's hands trembled. Ceres stood by the doorway, wounded, ash-covered, listening. Maelin did not bow. He did not rush. He placed the hidden ledger on the floor. "Your Majesty," he said softly, "this kingdom was not defeated by enemies." The king swallowed. "It was defeated," Maelin continued, "the moment you taught your people to fear their own thoughts." The silence stretched, heavy, unavoidable. And in that silence, the king finally heard himself. For the first time, he understood the noise had not protected him. It had hidden him. Vuralia fell within weeks, not in chaos, but in exhaustion. Years later, travelers said the ruins were strange. Wind passed through broken halls, and for the first time in generations, there was no music, only silence. And those who stood there long enough claimed they could hear footsteps, unfinished warnings, and truths that once waited patiently to be spoken. Some rulers fear enemies, some fear failure, but the most dangerous fear of all is silence, because silence does not lie.